I'll start with the question from yesterday. So let me, and also if you have questions today, you can add them to the question and answer section. So one of the questions yesterday is, why can't the relative reality, relative truth, be contained inside the ultimate truth?
Because relative reality is not real. Firstly, is not real. That's why you cannot exist in there. Secondly, it's no need exist because its nature always have propensity of suffering in it. So that's why we call it nature suffering. Yeah, suffering nature. Yeah, so that means we have so much attachment, even to the relative truth. So thinking, oh, when we reach the ultimate reality, oh, we prefer stay there, they're all relative, right? Okay.
So the next question, Rinpoche, is how do we practice emptiness in our personal life?
Personal life, if you can study, practice more traditional way, more official way, officially, there is many gardens. But without all any doubts, how you practice informally, you just have to analyze, you know, as I said, the science helped a lot, but they didn't use for this to understand in emptiness. Why they don't use? Because that's not their goal, and that's not their concept of benefit. So that means we have a different concept and different goal and different knowledge how to use. Already the science realizes many things. What we usually think is real is not real. So use those, all of them all the time, and remind yourself all the time, this is indication, and finally is nothing's real. As long as our five senses, the perception of our five senses and our conception of mind, anything of those is not real because not good enough to go to the ultimate truth. Or you can say is only real for illusion level, but not good enough real. Let's say if you what do you call this, games, you know, virtual reality games, if you go there and you play your character yourself with somebody, and then you find the perfect relationship there, and is that good enough for real in your life? Of course not enough, but temporarily maybe you feel good, so it's good enough for just that short time and only that level. So it's similar of that. Everything in our life is only good enough, but in this right now, this temporary, that's nothing wrong as long as we know there is better than that. And so we are not so attached and clinging on this. Yeah.
Rinpoche, can you explain the relationship between the alaya consciousness and the pristine wisdom?
Our relationship what?
Alaya, the alaya.
Alaya. Oh, yes.
And pristine wisdom. There was a part in the text, I think, where you were talking a little about this.
Yes. Yes. If we just say alaya, that means a neutral mind, not virtues, not non-virtues, a neutral and fundamental, only hold all the karmic propensities, but don't do anything else. But when we say our primordial awareness of alaya, if we say that, then it's not that. That means go beyond that is same as a Buddha nature. So is there is a relationship? No relationship. Better to say no relationship. One is go beyond of that. So what that we can say no relationship. Only the name is similar basis, means like basis of everything. So that means the alaya, normal alaya is the basis of all consciousness, all the minds, all the consciousness. And then the primordial alaya is the basis of everything. That's is how to say, relatively and relative perception, there is something similarity, but the reality there is no even similarity. Yeah.
So the next question is, since Buddha nature is the foundation of who we are, then isn't it from this Buddha nature that everything is experienced except the experience of Buddha nature? Because if the ultimate truth is empty of other but not of itself, then to realize this, how can it be experienced directly? Basically, how can nature be experienced?
I didn't understand from beginning. What you say?
They're just pointing out that since Buddha nature, they're asking if Buddha nature is how we experience everything else, everything. Do we experience it from the base of Buddha nature? And then how would Buddha nature experience itself?
If we experience everything basis of Buddha nature, then how you experience the Buddha nature? Do you mean that?
So their first, actually, I think it's a few questions. So the first one is sort of a question / assumption. They're wondering if everything is experienced from Buddha nature. Like all of our illusory, relative reality. They're wondering if that's experienced from
okay. Okay, firstly, when we say everything is based on Buddha nature, that you shouldn't take literally. Anybody don't take very literally. Like we say, oh, okay, all the snows, cloud from water, okay, or the ice manifestation of the water, frozen water. Not like that. Or we can say all the crops from the farm, or the children from the parents. It's not like that. The only we can say is when we say everything are based on Buddha nature means when we something say, oh, on the table, do we have cup on the table, plate on the table? Yes, no, yes, table, yes, cup on the table, yes, plate on the table, no cup on the table, no plate on the table. Whatever we say, yes or no, there, we already talking about the table is already exist, or table is already there. And then on the table is a plate and cup, or these things, yes or no. So that base is the table, you know. So similarly, when we talking about all relative truth, oh, is this exist, is it not exist, oh, matter is energy, energy is, you know, like, oh, you know, or the scientific point of view, or philosophy point of view, or normal people's point of view, everything we talking about, everything is nothing to do with, no discussion of Buddha nature. So Buddha nature is much more than that. So that we just call base, you know. Because when we say there is a cup on the table or not, the uncertainty of a cup exists there or not there on the table. But table is already a stable there, very stable, very steady. Similarly, when we're talking about everything, it's based on Buddha nature means, based on Buddha nature means everything. Everything is arguable, but the Buddha nature you cannot argue. Go beyond that. Okay? So that's why it is we call base. Another example, we say, oh, this you know, mountain is high, this mountain is not high, this tree is high, not high, or this building is tall, not tall, whatever, you know, oh, this is big, small, whatever we're talking about, we're not talking about space. The space is already there. That's very stable. If there is no space, we cannot even talk those. Or that case means its space is the base of all this talking, big, small, everything. So similarly, the Buddha nature is the base of everything. Means that is not Buddha nature produce all the samsara. Okay?
Okay. And then the follow-up to that, and it also parallels with some other questions, is then how is Buddha nature experienced? How can Buddha nature basically experience itself?
Because that is the Buddha nature, his nature, you know, and in normal samsara things, we experience food, but food cannot experience us. Okay, so everything is there is a subject and object. There's something experience. So how to say, the person or mind or whatever, and there's something to experience, or is duality. But Buddha nature is not duality. Is Buddha nature is everything it is. Everything, but everything or the perfection. So that means you can self-experience. You don't need somebody have to experience Buddha nature. So that means when we say experience a glimpse of Buddha nature, a tiny cells like small, we can experience Buddha nature means at that time we still have subject and object. Because that who experience in samsaric person has limitation. So that's why you experience only little. But when you are reaching enlightenment means you don't have any limitation. You are the Buddha nature itself. You realize yourself basically. So that's why it's you don't need anybody can experience, and also nobody can experience you are fully. If you do, that means you do yourself. There is a subject and object. There is a duality, and then is not Buddha nature. Fully, complete, not the complete Buddha nature.
So the next question, if the ultimate truth has nothing to do with the relative truth, how do Buddhas who are in the realm of the ultimate reach sentient beings and help them in the relative truth?
Okay, or the space is to do with any our earth on this yes, let's say or the satellites or the galaxies. Is space anything to do with them? It's like that. Space not produce them, but there is there because is space there. There is room to move. Similarly, only Buddha nature is only like that. But when we say all Buddhas helping all sentient beings forever, actually that is not really Dharmakaya. That's not another language, that is not the real Buddha. That is only manifestation of Buddha. So that means when we say, oh, I saw my face, I make up, I paint my face, or there is a pimple, or there's something no good, blah, blah, blah. We think we see our own face, but you never see your own face. You only see the reflection of your face. Is the same thing. Sentient beings think we met the Buddha. It's not really the real Buddha. It is manifestation of Buddha. This manifestation of Buddha, I can say this is a relative truth, is not the ultimate truth. Okay? Because this is only the phenomenon sentient beings can experience. Is not Buddha himself. Yeah. It's just like the reflection of your face in the mirror.
Okay, so yesterday we talked about 7 kinds of emptiness. So the person's asking if emptiness seems like a kind of a goal or an aim, but like a luminous one, not a void. They're trying to ask if that's correct, if it's a goal of a luminous something.
Emptiness seems like a goal, but luminous, what do you say?
They think it sounds like that emptiness is a goal of luminosity. Of sort of, I think they're saying realizing luminosity. They're one not
goal,
like,
somebody achieve, someone
yeah,
need, no.
an aim, like an aim or a direction. But I think that's no.
Emptiness is the goal, realization of emptiness, you can say goal. To realize, to have realization of emptiness, you can say goal, but you can't say emptiness is goal. Luminosity is luminosity. Which luminosity you're talking about? If you're talking about something to do with the ultimate truth, that is luminosity is only expression of this ultimate truth is not just empty.
Okay, because that was the other question, because they were wondering if the types of emptiness are luminous, or are they light-filled emptiness?
What?
So
What's filled?
They're wondering if the different types of emptiness are filled, are light-filled. Are they filled with, because you're saying they're not empty, but so are they filled with light?
This sounds like New Age emptiness. So, so when we say, I told you, remember, when we say emptiness, it's better to think from the beginning, empty is empty. Think that way, empty is empty. Empty is not, nothingness means emptiness, same equal. Absent or empty or, you know, nothing means empty. Think of that. When you build the best on that, then after you, then is what kind of emptiness? Is empty of other or empty itself? Think that way. Then empty itself is nothingness, in absent or nothingness, and non-affirmative, negative. Think that way. But from the beginning, you thinking is, oh, emptiness is, oh, empty or not really empty. Then is the really confusion, you know. So first, you have to, especially when we say self-empty, or I say this, in general, when we say empty, you have to just think of the real empty. Especially when you say self-empty, empty itself, then really have to think non-affirmative negative. You really have to stick with that. And then, is there other possibility of named emptiness? Then you can think other, you know, things. But from the beginning, if you mix everything, then you never understand. Then you're very confused. Empty or not empty? What then? Empty if it's not empty, then what is can be empty? No possible. There's emptiness does not exist. Then, you know, that will happen. I think that will happen in the past, and that will happen in now, and that will happen in the future. So really, you have to understand first. At least, or empty means empty itself or empty of each other, you know? So then empty itself means, okay, that means definitely empty, nothingness. Okay, then empty of other or empty of each other. Oh, okay, that in many ways you can think. I think that is the better way to go.
So for some of you who are joining us today for the transmission, if you didn't have an opportunity to study the whole text with Rinpoche, all of the recordings are on YouTube and also SoundCloud. I've included the link on YouTube. In each video, we do list exactly where in the text Rinpoche is talking about. So we list the starting point and we list the end point, and we give some details. So that might help with some of the questions if you haven't had a chance to follow the whole teaching. Rinpoche, could you give a little more clarity on the difference between this view and the mind-only, the Chittamatra view? There's still some struggle with how they're not the same thing.
Okay, this is a very, very simple differences, okay? I think better to understand rough way, not too precise. Okay, when we're talking about the relative truth, the Zhentong point of view and the Chitta Mata point of view, just almost same, 99.99 same. If you think that way, it's okay. You know, if we don't go too precise, then it's okay. Then, okay, when we're talking about the ultimate truth, then is totally become different. Just think that way. So what is different is in Buddhism, the all existence, they categorize in simple way. There are also many different ways, but simple way is mind and matter. Okay. So Chitta Mata say all the matter is illusion, not exist, only illusion. But the mind is true. And then when the mind is not, how to say, deluded by the matter, mind realized all appearances or matter is mind itself. That means you had the realization of ultimate truth. So that means simply, a simple way of saying, the Chitta Mata saying the real mind is the ultimate truth. Simple way. I think simple way better because in traditional way and more academic debate way is too confusing, you know. My English even not good enough to how to describe. And then Zhentong way, in the relative level, yes, in Chitta Mata you are similar. Yes, firstly, everything or the matter is, yes, illusion from the mind, we agree. But we are not agree that you say mind itself is ultimate truth. No. Mind also illusion. All the mental phenomena is illusion. All these 7 consciousness, 8 consciousness, all illusion. The last one is alaya. So the ultimate truth, Buddha nature, go beyond that. That's it. Very simple. If you don't understand this simple way, then is I don't know how to explain it. But you will understand. Slowly understand. Of course. As long as you have willing to understand, then you will. Some people understand intellectually, some people understand intuitively, some people understand different way. Okay?
So one person's asking if this emptiness is something that we can experience in meditation. Is this emptiness just the silence that happens when we meditate?
Intellectual way understanding and a meditative way understanding is a little bit different experience, but could help each other. So either way that means either way you can understand. But more high level of experiential understanding, it should be more meditation way, but based on other qualities, you know, big merits you already accumulate in the previous life or this life, or so if you have experienced great love or real compassion, that could lead to experience. Great devotion is the most direct condition to experience Buddha nature. But intellect way, study hard, very logical mind, study science this way, you can understand, but it's not realization. Yeah, it's a different way of understanding.
Okay, the next question is, so the person's understood that relative reality is all unreal, but they don't understand how that makes then the ultimate emptiness, like empty of other, different from nihilism. Like, how is this different from nihilism?
Oh, okay. The non-nihilism distance is there is more academic way to you know, traditional way I can explain, but that's I think most people are not responding, not understanding. So let's say I would say the best thing, this kind of people have confusion. Please, can you keep in the mind, truth is not one level. There's layers of truth. Can you think of that? That means more layers go is more true. Can you not fix your mind is truth or not true is the only one or two? Can you not fix it on that? So then, whatever level you are related, that is your truth now. Even we talking about all the ultimate truth, Buddha nature, blah, 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 but if you don't understand nothing, if you experience nothing, we just discussing, but we are not there yet. Whatever is the true for you in this moment, in this life, this is your truth. That means the untruth is more truth experience for you now. But your experience now is the truth. It doesn't mean is the really truth in general or an ultimate. Just think that way. Then you never go nihilism or externalism, eternalism. You never go that. I think that way may be better to simple and to keep in the mind. There is layers of truth depending on which one I experience.
Rinpoche, the next thing I'm going to ask you about is not in the Zhentong teaching. but has come up yesterday and today because we said the new set of prayers. Okay, so I don't know if the English translation is going to make sense, but there's one section in the new set of prayers that we read that has several people, both either some people curious, some people confused, and some people concerned. And I've figured out it's one section of the prayer. So I'm just going to read the English. So, whoever I meet, may I never even for an instant be influenced by those who steal eternal bliss, such as wicked teachers, mistaken wisdom traditions, the messengers of Mara, or negative companions. So the part that's confusing people here is who's stealing the eternal bliss? How is that possible? And also how to be aware of the wicked teachers and how to identify the messengers of Mara.
Okay, unfortunately, I cannot answer this until I see the Tibetan, because I have no idea which one is.
Okay, but I will find that so that you can find the Tibetan, since this has come up a few times and took me a bit to track down what the questions were pertaining to. But
if Tammy Jensen can show me that Tibetan now, I can explain.
Okay, I'll look for that. Let me. Yeah, thanks for sharing the transliterated Tibetan. I think Rinpoche is looking for the Tibetan characters, so which I don't have to be able to offer him. So we'll just see if you can grab it.
Is Tammy Johnson there?
I do not see him on the call, on the webinar.
That means he's not there. Okay, he's not there. So I can't find this text right now. This is not important, right?
I think it's important for us to find it at some point, because several people
don't let you practice.
No.
Don't make you try to be a better, good person on the way.
Up to you whether it's important to find Rinpoche. We'll go with what you tell us.
Okay. Right now, I can't find this.
Yeah, I'm just mentioning it's come up a few times, and it's that particular spot.
Still in external bliss.
Yeah, we'll have to find the Tibetan.
Okay, you can't find it, no possible.
I don't have the link to your prayer that you wrote.
Yeah, I have the link. Should we have linked together? But yesterday I look everywhere, I couldn't find it. Unbelievable. Yeah.
Okay. We can come back and see if we can find that. From most of the other questions, I could ask them, but I think a lot of them, I'm not sure if you're people who are joining us today and have not joined for any of the series of questions. There are a lot of ones that I think Rinpoche has answered over the course of the series before. So I do suggest you watch the whole video series. Rinpoche does a pretty extensive question and answering on a lot of these points. One question that did come up yesterday was, now that we've talked about this Zhentong view, how should we go about looking at reality or understanding reality in our day-to-day life?
How soon?
No, what is reality? what should they think is reality as they go about their day?
Okay, so you mean what is reality? You better to think nothing's the ultimate reality, all of them illusion, only reality for me now. And this level of the truth, this level of the reality, not the real reality, not ultimate reality. If you understand this way, what does help? Because your attachment, clinging, not accepting all the nature things, and not accepting aging, not accepting sickness, not accepting death, not accepting beloved ones that died, not accepting somebody not accepting you, not recognizing you. Huh? Any of you don't like things you try to remember is not real. That helps. How not real? You can analyze scientific way and logical way, intuition way. You can explain, you can analyze, or you can find out. You know, I mean, you can challenge your reality. If you can do that all the time, really should help. Not focus your emotion, is focus your analytical mind. Or otherwise, okay, or it's not true, I better to simple focus. So your life is less messy, less chaotic. And basically your life more progress. But this is the only way? No, many ways. This is, I saying, something simplest, anybody can relate it. I'm saying only this now, but not only this way, there is so many ways. And all different people have connect a different way, depend your different individual karma.